Today we're going to look at Magic the Gathering cards that look so good on paper. In theory, they looked amazing, but then you play tested them, and you know what? They were sort of garbage. I'm going to start with my own experience with Nimble Obstructionist. This is a card that, I mean, it looks like it can do everything. It's a blue, 2 generic, 3/1 flash flyer. What's wrong with that? And it's got the cycling ability for a blue and 2 generic with this unbelievable line of text. When you cycle Nimble Obstructionist, counter target activated or triggered ability you don't control. And that could be like anything. That can be fetch lands. That can be Shark Typhoon triggers, Planeswalker activations, creatures entering the battlefield to do something insane. And you counter those and you get the card. I think that is mind-blowing. But in practice, well, I do sometimes get those cycling bomb interactions. Very often, this is like a weird 3/1 creature that I don't even prioritize over my other 3/1 creatures that I have with Flash. Or like I'll play something else other than the Nimble Obstructionist. Or I don't feel like I'm pulling ahead because the time that I want to play this as a body, I don't really get anything. So this card looks so much better on paper than it did in practice. I still have some. I'm waiting, Nimble Obstructionist. One day your time will come, but unfortunately, it's not today. And it certainly hasn't been for the last few years either. All right, we got Abzo with the Mirror Shell Crab. I would also appreciate you let me know why it doesn't work. Why does the card not work nearly as well as you would like it to be? We got a blue 5 generic for a 5/7 with Ward 3 with Channel of blue 2 generic. Discard Mirror Shell Crab. Counter target spell or ability unless its controller pays 3. That does look like a pretty sick counter spell. But unfortunately, like 3 mana, not really special these days, is it? I mean, the bar these days is 2 mana. You play Mana Leak or Counterspell, you're playing nothing at all. I mean, or at least you have available like something like Censor, Dovin's Veto, or something. So yeah, like going to 3 mana, you might as well play an actual real card with some extra ability attached to it. I don't know if the 7 mana 5/7 crab makes makes up for this thing, but it does look cool. It does look cool. Like, why shouldn't that be part of your counterspell suite? And when you're flooding out, you play a 5/7 crab. Why not? Oh, you guys think this is early? Oh, get ready. Well, actually, it's not going to be. It's either going to be like super late over the next 2 weeks, or not all. So don't worry about it. We're not going to be too early. All right, we got Boulder. Thank you so much for the super chat, Boulder. Vexing Devil. Best wishes to you, Nikachu. I really appreciate it. Vexing Devil. Oh man, that's probably like the single most popular card that people think look amazing on paper, and then they feel it. They realize it when they actually play with this card. And I mean, I know why it gets undermined because I do it to my opponents. You can't force someone to take the 4 damage. When it enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to them, and then if it does, sack Vexing Devil. So if your opponent has the life to lose, they'll pay the 4 life. But they're paying it because that's what they want to do. It's good for them. But if they let it live, that was bad for you. You don't deal any damage to your opponent. It is not actually a burn spell, and it can't guarantee damage. And it doesn't have haste. It doesn't have anything. So it'll just eat up when they let it resolve cleanly. They got the removal spell for the Vexing Devil. They already prepared. They got it in the bag. Abs was like, Forest, why would you want to play green? Well, because they do everything. Okay, we got Nalia with the Keldon Flame Sage. I love it in a lot of pre-releases, but it's pretty awkward in practice. So the limited card that you tried to make playable in Constructed. So a red 2 generic 2/3 enlist. Whenever Keldon Flame Sage attacks, look at the top X cards. Your library, where X is Keldon Flame Sage's power. You may exile an instant or a sorcery card with mana value X or less from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. That doesn't look too bad where X is its power. But like it starts off with, I get it. It's like it starts off with 2 power. You don't look that deep. You're going to whiff a lot. So like, yeah, in the end, this is going to be like, it's going to be a miss, I think, in practice. And 3 mana When something's 3 mana, you don't want to miss. That's a very sensitive turn of the game, in my opinion. Abzo says, Commander player, Cathar Crusade. How many people cut it because it's too bothersome? Oh yes, I just learned recently that this card is like a staple to the Commander players. 5 mana. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So, like, this doesn't look like anything to me, but apparently, like, the whole Commander community is up in arms about this, like, being, like, I don't know, it's like Black Lotus. It's Black Lotus of enchantments. You have to have it in your deck. Wasn't this, like, the most popular 5 mana card of all cards? Like, when we were voting on, like, the mana costs of white cards? Yeah, this is wild. I would think this is overrated. I don't even know what's appealing about this. A creature enters the battlefield, you put a counter on each creature. Okay, I understand. If you're a token generator deck, you're probably in love with this thing. If you can spew out like 5 tokens at once, they all trigger, you know. So it could be gross. It could be gross. Oh, that's a good one. Bootlegger Sash. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and that's why the price is, like, the price used to be like $50 at release, right? Now it's like $5. It's not terrible, but it could be a lot better. So I guess the problem with this is that it's just too expensive. You know, I thought the same thing about that dragon. What was that treasure dragon? There's that treasure dragon. It's like 5 mana with haste. You attack, you make treasures. Equal to something. I don't remember. But I looked at this like the same way. I guess it's worse because it's 6 mana. Turn enters the battlefield. Your lands don't do anything. So you're basically taking a turn off, and then you're probably being the target at the table. They got Bootlegger Sash. Go get them. Goldspan Dragon. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking Goldspan. Not Gold Pan. Goldspan. I looked at this card the exact same way. But apparently this is a Commander staple, and this is not. Unbelievable. Kagum says the whole new Spirit Dragon cycle from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, like okay, let's look at Kairi. And let's look at, what's Kairi? Oh, we don't know that. But we haven't played with these cards. Who knows? This is a show about cards, you know, in theory. Like, this is theory. And then the set gets released and you play with this card and you realize, oh, this sucks. This actually was garbage in the first place. Alright, so what else do we have today? Is it possible to get you to make a Commander Merfolk deck? Yuki? Let me tell you, I have a Commander Merfolk deck. It already exists. My old commander used to be Thassa God of the Sea. I think now I gotta switch it to Sveloon, though. Too good. Too good to ignore. Oh, you want to go to the original? Okay, we want to go look the original Kari? The super old one? Blue 4 generic 6/6 flying. Ward 3. When it dies, choose 1. Return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands. And mill 6 cards. Then return up to 2 instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. So, like, this isn't even a, like, this is a lot of work. So we mill cards, and then we get to put instants. But it's 2 of them. And return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands. This looks like a lot of abilities. This is like they souped up the old dragons from the old spirits from the original Kamigawa. Yeah, the card says, the card has a lot of things on it. But to be honest, I've never playtested the card, so I would have no idea. We cover Aurelia's Fury. Have you tried that card? I have not. I just know this was a pretty hype card that fell flat miserably. And it probably sees no play at this point. White-red X. Aurelia's Fury deals X damage. Divide as you choose among any number of target creatures and/or players. Tap each creature dealt damage this way. Oh no! It will tap them. And players dealt damage this way can't cast non-creatures that spells this turn. Deals X damage. So I guess it's just too expensive. It's like a really garbage It's not like, I won't even call it like Fireball or something. It's just too much mana. The first 2 mana just makes the whole thing too weak overall. Alright, Charlie says, shake down heavy. Shake down heavy. Alright, black 2 generic 6/4 with menace. When it attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, untap shake down heavy and remove it from combat. Let me guess, they never let you draw the card. Just never happens. Attack! Can I have a card? No. I'll take 6 damage. Why does Commander have 40 life? Life is a resource. Oh, you know what just came up into my mind? I played with this card a lot. It has some play, but I thought I was going to see legacy play. Something witness. What is it? Witness protection? Yeah, witness protection. I play tested a lot of this in a lot of formats, and it ended up being like not as good as I thought it was going to be. So it's like blue. It's a blue enchantment. It's an aura. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green-white citizen creature token. Sorry, citizen creature with base power and toughness 1/1 named legitimate business person. So first off, it's sorcery speed removal. It's not where you want to be, especially against creatures with haste. And then on top of that, there would be like some aggro decks. They like deal, I don't know, they'll come at you with like 10 damage out of the gates. And then certainly, yeah, you turn one of their bigger creatures or more dangerous creatures into a 1/1. But it's still a 1/1 creature, you know, pounding your life total away. You know, it just goes down. So I thought this was going to see legacy play. I thought I was going to see a lot more modern play, and ended up just seeing way less. It sees like a little play in Pioneer. It's okay, but it was so much worse than I thought it was. Because in practice, the 1/1 creature, you still got to deal with that 1/1 creature. Sometimes it gets in for like an extra 5 points of damage, and that's not the point of removal. So anyway. Oh, that's a good one. Unsubstantiate. My God. So many, even today, people are like, why don't you play Unsubstantiate, Nikachu? Play Unsubstantiate. It's not that good. It's like a bad remand. It's a blue 1 generic. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. When I counterspell something, I want it to be gone for forever. I don't want it to come back next turn. But of course, the tempting thought of this is, you know, what if I return Supreme Verdict? Because you can counter uncounterable. So you can return uncounterable stuff like Supreme Verdict. That's the dream. We're gonna bounce it for 1 turn and then attack for victory. Sounds good in theory, but like honestly, that's not too bad. But like it's not worth playing this thing just for that. It's like a 2 mana bad card. Yeah, more like rehand. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's a great one. Tommy Siddons with the puns in the morning. All right. Dress down, beat witness protection out. Oh, yeah. That dress down ends up being like, you know, remove abilities from everything. Should have been a 0/1. Yeah, that would make it good. That'd probably do it. So if it's a 0/1 legitimate business person, I think that would work. Yeah. If witness protection is bad, is imprisoned in the moon even worse? Good question. Imprisoned in the moon. This is a different type of thing. Like this, sorry, imprisoned in the moon is like removal for all permanents, including like planeswalkers, right? Creature, land, or planeswalker. It turns it into a land. It turns into a colorless land. And the thing loses all its abilities. So I don't know where I am on this card. Like, I would never play this in a competitive format, because that's just, like, a little too expensive. A little too expensive. 3 mana, I don't really like it, 3 mana. Oh, here's MTG Ectoplasm. When did I start at 8:45? When I have a flight in a few hours. That's when. You're going to see, the show is always super early when I have a flight to catch. So, I don't know, Commander players, does this the play? I heard that this was like, they've reprinted this card a million times as if it has demand. Boulder! Life gain sucks! Badoomsh. Life gain Dex. Well, you would know, Balder. You play a lot of life gain and life drain decks. Is this you coming to a realization or something? Oh, what is a good life gain deck? Oh, I don't know. Okay, moving on with the show. Okay, we'll go with Mana Tithe. I don't know, I think... Okay, I could be wrong, but I think everyone knows this card is bad. But they're just there to get people. 1 white, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. It's a get 'em card. It's really easy to play around when you know that it exists. That's what I'll just say. I'm playing with a lot of Days and Legacy. It's like a free Mana Tithe. And once they see it the first time, they don't need to see it anymore. They got it. They got to prepare for that 1 mana. And then the Mana Tithe is just bad for the rest of the... If you draw it... Okay, here's my recommendation. If you're playing in competitive formats, if you play Mana Tithe and they've seen the Mana Tithe, side them all out post board, because it's useless from there on out. All right, we got some sponsors to thank. Don't change that dial. We're gonna look at more cards that look great on paper but terrible in practice. FusionGamingOnline.com. You need March of the Machine singles, the hottest stuff. You know where to get them. You can get them at FusionGamingOnline.com because it supports the channel, and it also get some deal here. Get 5% off all your purchases when using coupon code Nikachu at checkout. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Play vintage. You ever wanted to play with Black Lotus and the Moxen and feel the full power of Magic the Gathering's most powerful format? Well, you can play that format when you're renting cards on Magic Online. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_U3V. Now back to Mana Tithe. Oh, what a wonderful card this is. Yeah, oh my god, it's Fusion Gaming! Yeah, hot singles in your area. Exactly. Alright, Imprisoned in the Moon shuts down commanders. Ah. That's right! It's still in the battlefield, so you can't recast it. Oh, that actually looks really good in Commander. This is not a new start time. I don't want to get up this early. I switched the time because I don't want to get up this early. But the times are going to be completely chaos over the next 2 weeks. Okay, Royal Elemental. Why? Okay, blue, 3 generic for a 3/2 with flyer. Whoa, so OP. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain control of target creature for as long as you control Royal Elemental. That does look broken. I'm not gonna lie. That looks insane. And you like play fetch lands. Play land, enters the battlefield, give me your creature. Fetch this land, give me your creature. I guess the card is just too weak. It's a 3/2 creature. It will die if the wind blows the certain way. For 6 mana, it's not particularly beefy, so I guess that is the weakness of this thing. But damn, it looks strong. This is what this show is all about, really. A vortex that devours everything, even the souls of the living. Then you have to give it all back. Yeah, turn... Well, is it really turn 6? You got your mana crypts, mana vaults, soul rings. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, new Merfolk top. This card is wild. Okay, I like this. I like it when you give me explanations. Okay, Nalia. I used to run Teferi. Temporal Pilgrim in Standard after Brothers War. Was released in a control shell with Shieldred. Never worked. This thing? Temporal Pilgrim? So blue, 3 generic for 4 loyalty. Whenever you draw a card, you put a loyalty on this thing. So basically draw a card for 0 is +1. And then -2. Create a 2/2 blue spirit creature token with vigilance, and whenever you draw a card, put a counter on this creature. I think it's just, you know, we'll forget the ultimate. It's just underwhelming to just draw a single card from a Planeswalker. I think that's the problem. Like, every Planeswalker draws you a card. 3 mana Teferi draws you a card. Everything you know, classic Jace drew you like 3 cards. So just drawing 1 card, I don't think it cuts it anymore. That's a big problem. Okay, the Jaded. What happens when you bolt the elemental in response to its trigger? Does the control change or cease? Okay, that's a good question. So here's it all depends if it's 2 lines of text or 1 line of text, the Jaded. That's a great rules question. So if it was 2 lines of text, like When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain control of target creature. And then if there was a break, when the Royal Elemental leaves the battlefield, return all creatures back to their control. If there was a break in between this ability, you would keep the creatures. Because what would happen is the trigger on the stack that says, okay, I'm going to take your creature. Then there is like, I'll kill your creature. And then you have to give everything back. Triggers. That resolves first. Your Royal Elemental dies. But then the gain control trigger triggers. You get all the creatures. Anyway, that doesn't exist. It's all in one block of text. So when this thing dies, at any moment while it's on the stack, you lose. You lose the creatures. Time stretch. Time stretch. But why is that? Oh, 10 mana. Target player takes 2 extra turns after this one. Oh my god. What if we put... It's basically a meme card, right? It's just 2 time warps combined. Well, I guess it could have been blue mana, but like, it's basically 2 time warps combined for a super time warp. Yeah, it's the O-ring ruling all over again. Except it's all one block. And that's why they don't do that in 2 blocks of text anymore. 1 block of text. All right. What else do we have? Chimeric Staff. 4 mana. Chimeric Staff becomes an XX construct and artifact creature until end of turn. Could make this a big creature when I have enough mana to spend on it. Yeah, the problem with these cards is you basically have to you basically tap out to play it. I mean, you could leave up some mana if you want, but then it won't be so big anymore. It's one of those. It's a little bit better in constructed than I would say Commander, because there might be a moment where you do need to tap out, and it is protection from sorcery speed removal. Like, you're not going to get hit with Supreme Verdict or Anger of the Gods or Wrath of God Damnation or any of that stuff. So it does have that utility, but it's like it's only like worthy of standard stuff, if at all. All right, Thusa. Nariri's lithoforming. No, sorry, Nahiri's. I know who Nahiri is. Nahiri's lithoforming. Trying to make it work on landfall deck. 2 bricky in the end. 2 bricky, huh? Red, X, sorcery, sack X lands. For each land sacrificed this way, draw a card. You may play X additional lands this turn. Lands you control enter the battlefield tapped. For each land sack, you draw a card. I see. So, like, most of the time... Well, here's the problem. I have the solution to your problem. Play more lands! I would bet that for a card like this, you should be playing with, like, 50 to 60% lands in your deck. If I were to be correct here. Like, you need to be land heavy. I know you Commander players, you want to be land light. But for a deck like this, you want to be like 60, maybe 65% lands. You have to, and you know... Unfortunately, Primeval Titan is banned in Commander, so you can't take as much advantage of that land heavy deck. Is there a lands Commander deck? You know, Tabernacle, Maze of Ith, Glacial Chasm tries to win with, like, you know, like the creature, the land, either Field of the Dead or Larret Mage from the deep, like, what is it called, Deep Depths? The Depths card. Anyway, it would be good in that sort of deck, I think, maybe. Aggressive Mining, that's cool. Yeah. Well, actually, hold on, that's a card we could even talk about. It has a similar problem, actually, with Nahiri's lithoforming. Very similar. You can't play lands, but you can sack a land to draw 2 cards. And then, like, but the problem is when you brick hard. Like, that's it. Your land is gone. Oh, no. How am I going to play my spells this turn? So, anyway, it actually has very similar vibes to this. It's the same damn thing, really. It's actually, in some ways, it's worse. Oh, dark depths. That's what I was. Yeah, they're. No, we're all making mistakes here. Team Tatiova. What? What, where? In Constructed or Commander? Isn't this like a tier 1 Commander? It's like, and it looks broken. I should try to experiment with this in Constructed. Like, it is 5 mana, but the ability is insane. Blue, green, 3 generic for a 3/3 Merfolk Druid. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Truth be told, I've never playtested this card in Constructed, but like, it is very, very good. It looks good. Put a land, you gain life and draw cards. Like, say no more. I do that all day. We all put lands into play. Why can't I get paid for it for once?
I didn't get that. Could you
Bunsey the Frog. The terraforming spell isn't so bad if you're Gruul and use the card to let you play lands from your graveyard. Ah, like Wrenn and 6. Get yourself some Wrenn and 6. Tatiova was Fringe CED. Oh, I thought it was a bigger card. Okay, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Fetch lands and green land drops should feed that. Yes, it should. So what you're telling me is that this card doesn't actually work. Alright, maybe it is one of those cards that look insanely good on paper and just garbage in practice. Tier 1 Pauper CEDH, turn 1, Tier 1 in Limited. Yeah, Tier 1 in Limited, that's right. Always thought Telepathy would see more play. Did I playtest? I think I playtested this card once. Now, first off, looking at your opponent's hand is insane. It's super powerful. It's like, you know exactly what they're doing at every moment. They cannot pull any tricks on you. Now, the problem is, you're still down a card. Like, you didn't get anything out of this. One thing that made Gitaxian... And you also have to pay mana for this. One thing that made Gitaxian Pro broken is that it replaced itself. And you more or less got the information you needed. Like, the Gitaxian Pro player is, like, going to try to win on that turn or the next turn. And they'll more or less have as much information as they need. But it replaced itself. This is just like a bump on the log. So it sucks in multiples if you have draw multiple telepathy. Not very useful. Unless you can take advantage of the devotion. But, yeah, telepathy. Still, I played Peak. I've performed really well with Peak, but telepathy, you draw a card off of Peak. Telepathy, yeah, it's a bit of a stinker because it does not draw that card, and bad in multiples. Not a problem for the commander players. You're only allowed to have one anyway. The Jaded, hot take. Grim, Tutor, and Imperial Seal are really not that fantastic as they seem. Let's look at Imperial Seal. Sadly, the name with Nether Void, which I even love. What? Black, search your library for a card, then shuffle your and put that card on top. You lose 2 life. What's wrong with that? It's a Tutor. Okay, well, I'll say this much, Jaded. Maybe it's not so good in Commander, but holy crap, these cards are broken in Constructed play. You can play 4 of them. You will feel the wrath of Tutors. I always do. Calantera's Time Walk looks a lot better than it is when you play it. Oh, you mean regular Time Walk? Well, you know what? Okay, I can resonate with that. There's so many times I'm playing Time Walk as, like, Explore. Like, you know, turn 2, I got no creatures in play, nothing. And I play Time Walk because I just want to get ahead on mana. Like, why not? And it's a draw. You draw a card and put a land in play, basically, is what it says. And I can resonate with that. Time Walk actually feels a lot more... I played this card in Cube a million times. It feels pretty garb overall. But it's still a Time Walk. It's like... It's early in the game, it's Explore. Then on turn 10, it's like an extra attack. So, like, it's pretty broken later on in the game. Just, mediocre early in the game. Okay, Voidtech. Vannifar looked pretty busted on paper, but it was pretty mid and constructed. Yeah, oh yeah, and you know, they try, I mean, there are a lot of decks that exist with it, right? But it was not nearly, you know, it was like, oh my god, they're reprinting Birthing Pod, and it's a creature! And then nothing really came about this thing, not in a really broken way. Blue-green, 2 generic for a 2/4. Elf Ooze Wizard. Tap, sack another creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sack's creature's converted mana cost. Put that card on the battlefield and shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So, I mean, the main problem with this thing is you can't use it immediately. It's got to sit on the battlefield. You got to wait a turn. And you better believe when your opponent sees this, they're like, oh, code red. There's a Vannifar on the battlefield. Get rid of this thing. Because if it lives, I mean, you're probably going to get comboed off and, like, you're just going to die. So, yeah, and it's 4 mana to sink into something that's going to die with no other upside. Nothing. You get no value out of this thing. You either win or you lose miserably. Does Creeping Chill have a home? That was... Oh, Creeping Chill has seen a lot of play. Oh, sorry, hold on. Creeping Chill! You know, this is like a Dredge special. You know, I thought a lot of Dredge cards should get banned because of this card. Or they ban this because this is a weird card to ban. Deals 3 damage to each opponent. You gain 3 life. When Creeping Chill is put into a graveyard from your library, you may exile it. If you do, Creeping Chill deals 3 damage to each opponent and you gain 3 life. It's like, it's incredibly busted in any, self-mill deck. Like Dredge. Or I think there is also some... I think there's some other decks that want to put you down to like 6. Or sorry, yeah, put you down to like 8 life and then they can kill you from there. Owen! Oh, I love that one. Platinum Angel, thank you so much for the super chat. Alright, raise a hands. How many people have Platinum Angel in their deck? Don't be afraid of saying yes. So 7 mana for a 4/4 flyer. You can't lose the game. Your opponents can't win the game. I'm invincible! Oh wait, it can die. I can actually lose. So anyway. It's so appealing. Because you could do so much jank stuff with this. And that's funny. Imagine you lose all your life with like ad nauseum, and they're like, okay, in response, kill your like after all that, okay, kill your Platinum Angel, and you're like, oh god, I'm at minus 20 life, damn it. So anyway, Platinum Angel, that's definitely it looks good on paper. It looks really good. Oh, I know someone else who played another card. What are those amulets? What are those things that like it puts creatures in play? This! I had a friend, maybe they're even watching the show. Their deck was just amulets and big angels. But I think like it would just have been better to just play your angels. 4 mana. You gotta pay another 4 mana tap to put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. These Elvish Piper cards, they look very appealing. It's almost like a stage, I think, in our magic growth, where we like play these. We start off the game playing stuff like Quicksilver Amulet. We should put that creature in play. This is broken. Quicksilver Amulet. I played this in color. Whoa. Okay, now maybe that's worth it. That you don't BSing around. The amulet is cool. Oh, maybe I'm offending people here. Yeah, Elvish Piper 2.0. Like for the amount of mana you're sinking into this card, you should just play the card. Just play just play the card. Just get more mana in play. But I guess this allows people to play really expensive janky stuff. I actually like the idea of putting an Eldrazi in play with this card. That makes some sense. Chilupacabra with the Dash Hopes. Are you serious? You telling this from experience? Black. When you play Dash Hopes, any player may pay 5 life. If a player does, counter Dash Hopes. Counter target spell. Now they're gonna take the 5 life. Okay, we got some. Okay, some people are agreeing with me. The amulet sucks so hard. It's just wrong ever mixing casual and competitive. This is the growth to gain. Commander won't ever be competitive. I got some bad news for you. There's like a big competitive Commander community out there. They're called CEDH. They're transforming into like TEDH, which is Tournament EDH. You can't separate the competitive players from like the casual players. There always will be tryhards out there. I know, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Blackburn loves Dash Hopes. Do they? If I was up against a burn deck and they played Dash Hopes on me, I'd be like, okay, it's countered. I don't care. You can counter this stupid thing. CEDH is just legacy with extra. It's like it's more like vintage. I would not say it's legacy. It's like it's clunky vintage, I guess, because you only get to have one card of each card. All right, what else do we have here? Fortune Thief. I like these cards I never heard of. We got red for generic 0-1. Why would that be so appealing? It's a human rogue. Damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. Wow! It's, what's it called? This is literally worship on a red creature. That is so bizarre. Oh, it's a time spiral card? Okay, that makes sense. It's when they were like mixing and mashing stuff together. And it's got morph. Haha, you don't care. I'm not dead. Well, anyway, that's a very vulnerable card. This card will die to like a toothpick being thrown at it. Oh my eye! Anyway. Logo looks good on paper, but banned in practice. Yeah, that's cards that looked good on paper, and that maybe that's an alternate show. Cards that look good on paper, but were actually broken. Or maybe bad on paper. I don't know. Ali from Cairo 2.0? I guess so. Oh yeah, that's the 0-1, right? The morph ability will surprise your opponent, not because it's good, but because they will be surprised you would play it. That's true. That's you got that right. Got that right, Bandit. We get Larry has the Doom Whisper. What on earth is this? Black, 3 generic for a 6/6 flying trample. Pay 2 life, surveil 2. So you could, in theory, dump 2 cards in your graveyard. I guess this is like, it's like Yawgmoth's Bargain at Home or something like that. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. But you can dump the cards. You don't draw any cards. You're just surveilling. I could see the appeal to this. But I could see how it backfires badly once you start playing with the card. GWJ, I have no idea how good it is, but how about the reality chip? The effect is insane, but it's expensive to get online. It is very good in decks that have 1 or 0 mana cards in it. Like so it actually sees play in Hammer Time, in blue-white Hammer Time, in Modern, because it's a deck it's full of 1 mana and 0 mana spells. And so you just and you can fetch for it with Stoneforge Mystic because it's an equipment. So actually, it does see some play. It's a real card out there. Charlie, break the ice. Kills Urza Saga, but that's about it. Oh, but no. This blows up Tron lands. This saw a little bit of play when it got released, and then none after that because it's so narrow. It's a sinkhole for like I guess snow-based decks. Destroy target land that is snow or could produce colorless mana. Overload for black for generic. Blow it all up. This card, I was hoping this card would actually see more play, so I wouldn't be forced to play with snow-covered basics, but it sees no play anywhere. It's now 4 cents. Get your foils. It's sinkhole, people. It's sinkhole. That's what it looks like. It looks like sinkhole. Yeah, but in the end, it does nothing. But even Tron is struggling with not dying for good nowadays. It's struggling with not dying for good. So you're saying it can't die. That's what you're trying to tell me. Fox Rogue. Dark Depths gets broken by Vampire Hexmage. Yes, absolutely. Oh, you've revealed that you are 20 minutes behind the stream, but it's all good. Thank you for joining us, Fox. Do cards that add colorless mana, like the one in the circle, count as the colorless mana? Yes. So like a Mutavault, for example. Oh, anything that added 1 generic now adds this diamond. See? Maybe we should have a show. Nikachu try attempts to answer your rules questions, and we see how good I do. I know a lot of rules, but I don't know every interaction, so. I'm like a bad level 1 judge. Or I'm a very good level 1 judge for Modern. Because that's my specialty format. So yeah, like anything that produces the diamond. Diamonds are forever. I remember thinking Soulscar Mage looked as good as Swiftspear. Well, it sorta is! This sees a lot of competitive play alongside Swift Spear. So yeah, that's a good one. Did I miss word? I meant Tron is almost dying for good, but is barely playable sometimes yet. Alright, there we go. I understand that. We got Tameshi. King Ginger says Tameshi. Reality Architect. Oh yeah, I don't see this. This thing doesn't see play at all. Blue 2 generic for a 2/3 Moonfolk Wizard. Whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Pay a white, X. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Bouncing stuff to your hand sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. We put it into play for a reason. I don't want to put it back. We got the Tron stands over here. Grave Titan. Isn't this like a running meme in the nitpicking nerds like community? I think this card looks good. I think if they ban Primeval Titan in Modern, they should just replace it with Grave Titan. Like, Primeval Titan was Grave Titan for a little while because it found Field of the Dead and it just put a bunch of zombies in play. And it was OP! It was literally OP in Modern. I'm so surprised this card sees no play in Modern. 6/6, Death Touch. When Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. Like, maybe it sucks in Commander, but I am very actually surprised this sees zero play in Mod. Nothing. No one is even trying. Grave Titan was often tried in Nitsfits. Does it? Yeah, does it die to Doomblade? It's busted. Watch out for Grave Titan. It's until you play it. Hey, look, like, basically Primeval Titan was a Grave Titan temporarily in Modern, and it wrecked people because it, like, stabilized the board immediately with a bunch of blockers, and it makes an army out of itself. But the problem is, I guess if the Grave Titan dies, your synergy dies. It's all gone. It all goes down the drain. Whereas with Primeval Titan finding Field of the Dead, the Field of the Dead stayed and still made more zombies. Grave Titan is Garbo. Okay, a card that looks really good on paper. Yeah, I'll got as a tribute to nitpicking nerds, I'll make this, if I can remember, I'll make this the thumbnail of this video. Cards that look really good on paper, but they're just suck in practice. Redco with Cheville, Bane of Monsters. Is this, oh, is it evil? Evil Bane of Monster? No, it's Cheville. What is going on here? Okay, Cheville Bane of, oh yeah! So many people wanted to make Cheville decks. Green, black, 1/3. And I guess they did make them, and then dismantled them immediately. Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents control no permanents with bounty counters on them, put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls with a bounty counter on it dies, you gain 3 life and draw a card. You know what I think the problem is? Like, no one has an incentive to kill this thing. Or do they? Whenever a permanent opponent controls with a bounty counter on it dies, you gain... See, you gain the 3 life and draw a card. But imagine that everyone who did not control that creature drew a card and gained 3 life. Hold on. Whenever a permanent an opponent control with a bounty on it dies, you gain... Like, you only gain the life and draw a card, right? It should be to whoever kills the thing. That's the whole point of a bounty. Like, and if anything, you should give them a card. You killed the thing? All right, here, take a land I control. So anyway, it's like, it doesn't really work out here. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, we got CK Ram with Synthesis Pod. Did I miss any other ones? I don't think so. No, I got it. All right, we got with the Synthesis Pod. We got, oh! What is this? It's Birthing Pod! What is going on here? Okay, exile a spell you control. Target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card with mana value equal to 1, plus the exiled spell's mana value. Exile that card. Then that player shuffles. You may cast that card exiled. You may cast that exiled card without paying its mana cost. What the hell does this thing do? Is it like a cascader? So we exile a spell I control. So it has to be on the stack. Target opponent reveals cards on the top of their library until they reveal a card with a mana value equal to 1 plus. So I'm randomly buffing my spell into another spell. What a stupid card. But I can see, I can definitely see the appeal to this thing because it looks like Birthing Pod. It looks like Birthing Pod, but it most certainly is not. We got CK. Oh no, your super chat went through. You get another. You can give me another one. CK Ram. You give me another card. The first one went through. I just didn't get around to the super chat. Sorry about that. I'm gonna look out for you. Okay, we got Owen here. Fauna Shaman. And feet. You only get one. That's how it works around here. Gotta break up those super chats. Oh, they gave upgraded art on this thing. Fauna Shaman, green 1 generic for a 2/2, green tap. Discard a creature card, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle. I think this has a problem with a lot of the cards on this list. It's got summoning sickness, and it's a creature, so it can die to removal. So you really have to hope that it lives to see another day in order to get its effect. It's a busted effect. Like, don't get me wrong, you're tutoring any card that you need to into your hand, but at the same time, like, this thing can die. Cards like Survival of the Fittest or Birthing Pod, they were powerful because they were not creatures, so they don't die to Doomblade and so on. But yeah, this is a card that always looks good on paper. It does see a little bit of play, but it's always in some fringe deck that is not very real. King Ginger, Nihab, Dreadhorde, or Nahab? Dreadhorde Champion. Naheb? Oh, we got 4 mana. Red 2 generic for a 5/4 Trampler. It's a zombie. Who is this from War of the Spark? It's got War of the Spark art. That's how I knew. It's got that very specific weird zombie looking guy. Zombie warrior. Okay, whenever Neheb, Dreadhorde Champion, deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards if you do draw that many cards and add that much red mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Why is this so bad? You could, like, dump a handful of lands and get a bunch of mana and fresh cards out of it. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker. I guess the problem is you gotta deal damage to people, and it's a bit awkward. I always find that having to deal damage, that bar is very high. Like, a lot of abilities are made fair by just dealing damage to people. Did you get another super chat in there? Is this CK Cram? You just say something, and it's gonna be a freebie. Okay, we got Dick here. I'm not falling for that one again. You know, you fool me once, you don't fool me again. We got Tika Dragon. Never heard of it. What's Tika? No, it doesn't exist. Oh, Tika's Dragon. There we go. Good save. I was going to move on. It's still not here. It's not here. Is this a fake card? You people are suggesting me fake cards. It's Tika's Dragon. Thank you very much, King Ginger. Or sorry, Bobby. Sorry, thank you very much, Bobby. Tika's Dragon, 9 mana for a 5/5 flying trample rampage 4. I guess it looked good back in the day. Back in the day, the creatures were Garbo. And Tika's Dragon counts as a dragon. Well, it should. It better. It's got dragon in the name. Ah, it's an artifact. It's an artifact creature with Rampage 4. Oh, yeah, I get it. So this is like one of the earlier artifact creatures back then. Cool card. But probably completely useless. What is Rampage 4? For each creature assigned to block it beyond the first, it gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Ah, I see. So you just block it, gets angry. The dragon doesn't like it when it gets blocked. But 9 mana. Get your Black Lotuses, people. Get your Black Lotuses. Charlie. Kel's Fight Fixer. Never got a card so wrong. Kel's Fight. So you thought this was going to be hot stuff, huh? We got black 2 generic for a 4/3 Azra Warlock with Menace. Whenever you sack a creature, you may pay a black or a blue. If you do, draw a card. Ooh! That looks very, very tempting. Pay 1, sack a creature. You have a sack outlet right here. Kel's Fight Fixer gains indestructible until end of turn. I can see the problem for this card. The problem is mana. Like, you're spending a lot of mana to draw cards, and it's going to be really awkward. I've been in this situation before. Like, I never have mana. Like, I hate spending mana on my triggered abilities, and you're so bottlenecked always on mana. Like, you want to play a creature, or you want to hold up this ability. And if you hold up this ability, like, it's just an entire, like, mana sucker. Pen's Fan with, what, Chromanticore? Oh, interesting. All right, green, red, black, blue, white for a 4/4 Manticore with Bestow. So you can turn it into an aura to give the creature all these abilities for this Bestow cost. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink. An enchanted creature gets +4/+4 and has Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink. Yeah, but where are you going to put it on? Like, oh, I don't want to say it. You know, these days, these might as well be, like, vanilla, like, stats. They're not that impressive. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, oh, who cares? Yeah, nice creature, buddy. Nice creature. Outside of that, it's, what's it called? It needs to have to have some broken ability on it, like return all lands from a graveyard to the battlefield, or search your library for a creature and put it to play and it put 10 counters on it. Like, these days, abilities are so pushed. These days, it's like, that's nothing. Who cares? Yeah, you can have that creature. All right, C-Cram with the delayed super chat. Shadowborn Apostle. Does anyone try to make this thing work? Shadowborn Apostle, black 1/1. A deck can have any number of cards named Shadowborn Apostle. You can have 6 if you want. Black, sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostle. Search your library for a demon creature card. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Get that demon in play. What is that demon? For a demon, or like, I don't know what the chase card demon is these days. Oh, we got Ben. Thank you so much, Ben. When will your brothers release feet pics? Probably easily. My brother's cheap. He'll do it for very little. You just have to ask. You just had to ask, Ben. He might show feet on stream. He's barefoot most of the time anyway. Any number of those is 0. Yeah, I have a number of Shadowborn Apostles in my deck. The number is 0. That's a funny thing. What else do we have here? I like Chromanticore in my Wooburg deck, but it has synergies there. All right, you gotta make sure that you have synergy. Otherwise, Chromanticore don't do very much. Maelstrom Archangel. Well, a lot of you guys want Maelstrom Archangel. Is Abzo and King Ginger the same person? Just to get the extra super chats in. I think about those things as creators. I always wonder, like, how many of you are like extra people? Okay, Maelstrom. I'm gonna keep an eye on King Ginger and Abzo. Maybe they suggest the exact same thing all the time. Maelstrom Archangel, Wooburg for a 5/5 flying angel. Deals combat damage to a player. You may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. What? Okay, whenever Maelstrom Archangel deals combat damage to a player, you may cast a spell from your hand. So what? What's the downside? This actually, maybe... I guess the downside is it has no ETB, and like it's just, everyone's like, hey, we gotta kill this thing. Who knows what's gonna get cast next turn? Could be Ulamog or something. We are all one person. Yeah, for all I know, all of Chad is one person. All will be one. Yeah, no haste, dies to remote. I think this is the problem. You play Wooburg all for nothing. Because that ability is broken. I mean, that is the exact... This card perfectly is the theme of this show. It's so broken, but in practice, I guess it's really hard to pull off. Someone's going to have some removal for this thing, and it has no ETB immediately. Cost of Wooburg and needs to deal damage. Oh, yeah, again, the deal damage clause. That is a tough clause. You mean not everyone will be free and open. All right, what do we have? Duke says, I have Maelstrom Angel in the same Wooburg deck. So Duke, basically you're telling me you built a deck full of garbage cards, and then hopefully it's all going to be big in the end. It's all going to work out. It is busted if you get it through, but normally it dies out of the gate. There we go. It's too threatening. You got to be, these cards are more threatening when they are deceptively good, not when they're obviously good. Finn the Fangbearer. My friend plays this against me in Constructed and quickly realized it is faster for me to die from normal damage than... Oh, that's a good one. Finn the Fangbearer. Yeah, a lot of the poison players love this card. Green 1 generic for a 1/3 with Death Touch, but whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. It's just better off to do it the old-fashioned way. The new way is no good. Charlie with the super chat. Thank you so much. Lord Xander. Oh, yeah. I think it went from like huge hype to like $2. Well, I think a lot of people thought this was going to be the vampire you put into play with like Sorin, Sidious, whatever. We were just looking at this the other day. Or am I wrong? Sorin. Oops. Not that Sorin. Imperious Bloodlord. There we go. So you can go -3, put a vampire creature from your hand onto the battlefield. People thought this was going to be the hot stuff. And I think I saw playing maybe one other deck. I didn't really see the appeal of this card, to be honest. It's like just a 6/6 creature. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half their cards in their hand rounded down. Like late in the game, they'll have no cards in hand. Who cares? Lord Xander attacks. Defending player mills half their library rounded down. Like it's just half your library. You can lose half your library. You can lose half your library again. You can lose half your library again. And then, you can lose half your library quite a few times and still be around in the game. And then when it dies, target opponent sacks half the non-land perms they control rounded down. I'm like, who cares? If it's big and bad enough, you'll do it. Oh, we got some Lord Xander fans in the house. No, Lord Xander is good, in my opinion. People are defending the honor of the Lord Xander. GWJ with Gargus. Vicious Watcher. Green, 3 generic for an 8/7 with Vigilance. Hydra spells you cast cost 4 less to cast. Whoa! Okay, I see the appeal to this. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or just the target of a spell, Gargos, a Vicious Watcher, fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Oh, that's wild. Oh, okay, I gotta end this thing. Okay, I gotta go. I got a flight to catch. All right, thank you very much. Remember, well, it's gonna be chaos over the next 2 weeks. So be subscribed, hit the bell, everything, because you never know when the show is gonna be on. Thanks everyone for supporting. Thank you very much, Coffee Crew. Catch you next time. Yeah, see you later.